As much fun as you can have with a country that's doing so badly.
All right, let's start with Putin. You know, Putin's in the news. The Russian troops are on the Ukrainian border. Do you think that Putin, and you know him fairly well, wants to have a world war, wants to have a conflict with the United States and NATO? Does he want that?
I think he wants to take it over without a lot of problems if he can do it. And if he sees he's going to be met with force, he won't do it. He's playing his cards. Right now, I don't think he knows what he wants to do based on the fact that he doesn't know where the opposition is going to be. He had a very good meeting for him with Biden a few days ago. I'm sure he went back and said, this is crazy. This is too good to be true. And so I think it depends. I was surprised that, you know, Biden said he's going to put on sanctions if he takes over the country. Sanctions? Because, you know, sanctions are very good. We put on more sanctions on Russia, and I get along very well with Putin. Very well. Nuclear power, always good to get along with. I got along well with most of them. Some I like, some I didn't like. I got along great with him. But the truth is that I think he's just sort of probing right now. He's going to see how far he can go, and if he feels he can go all the way, he's going to take it over. And if he doesn't, he'll get a lot, he'll get something, and pull back.
Now, during your administration, he wasn't this bold. He seized Crimea under President Obama. He wasn't that bold, but the Russian government hackers caused trouble in the United States consistently. Did you talk to him about that?
I did, but these were individual hackers. These were hackers like, we have a lot of hackers in our country too. And you know, some of them spent $100 on advertising as an example. They said, Russia's spending money on, like these were a small group of people and a very small amount of money. And the Russia, you know, the Russia hoax turned out to be a Hillary Clinton fantasy. Who would have thought she was this evil, right? You look at her. When I called her Crooked Hillary, I was more right than I even thought. No, we had a great election then, and we did even better the second time. I say it loud and clear. We won the first time, and the second time we won by even more. And it looks like we might have to think about very strongly a third time.
You know, Putin was done 5 times, so, you know, that they have. It's not a problem. Does Putin speak English?
Probably, you know, it's very funny because they'll say hello. President Xi doesn't say hello. He goes only through the interpreter, but I think he understands exactly what's happening. They all do. They're all at the top of their game. Yeah, I think Putin does. I've had conversations, which I think he does pretty well with it, but he never likes to do it in public. So when people say something behind his back, he knows exactly what they're saying.
Yeah. So, do you believe that he is capable of pulling the nuke card out? Is Putin capable of that?
You mean of using the nuke or of pulling it out? I don't think he wants to use it. Well, he's a smart guy, and I don't think he wants to use it because he knows that's the end of Russia, that's the end of a lot of things. It's really the end of the world. It's the single biggest problem we have today, not global warming. We'll all take care of global warming. The ocean will rise 1/100th of an inch within the next 400 years. Nuclear warming.
So he's not unstable, and you don't see him as a madman.
No, not at all. I don't
not
see
even
him.
back into
No, I know very well. I know him. I shouldn't say this. It'll ruin my relationship with Bill. I know him very well. I know Putin better than I know the great Bill O'Reilly. No, it won't. And he is a smart guy. He's an opportunist. He's in a friendly way. Sometimes he can be a little bit of a wise guy. I'll tell you a story. He said we were arguing in Mexico. I told it once. It was yesterday where we had a great time in Sunrise. Didn't we? Great time. And 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Can you imagine? And this is a great group of people. You know, who needs the evening when we can use the day? And night I was talking about Mexico and building up Mexico for a negotiating purpose. Mexico is a great country. It's unbelievable because we're negotiating oil and the price of oil and different things and the amount of oil and what we did and the job we did on energy independence was so great. So I'm negotiating with him and the King of Saudi Arabia. And I was saying how great Mexico is. He said, oh really? If it's so great, how come you're building a wall? And I said, you got me in that one. He's got a sense of humor.
Let's go over to Xi. He's a dangerous character, Xi. Communist government, very hardcore, whereas Putin is basically in business for Putin. Xi has got that big army, and he is saber-rattling like crazy. You see Xi going into Taiwan, which again would start a worldwide conflict.
Well, first of all, just to go back to Putin for a second, he loves Russia, you know, and he wants to do a job for Russia. I want to do a job for the United States. Nobody ever treated, I got along with him great, but he would say, you're killing me on the pipeline. I said, I'm sorry about that. Nobody ever mentioned the Nord Stream 2 pipeline until I came along. They were building it, it was approved long before I got there, putting a pipeline to Germany and all over Europe. And I terminated it. And then Biden, and then they say, by the way, it's the biggest thing they've ever done. This is a major, tens of billions of dollars, thousands of miles of pipe. And I said, no, we have to do it. We terminated it. Then they say, Trump is soft on Russia. He's soft on Russia. I also put more sanctions on Russia than all other presidents combined. Trump is soft on Russia. But when you can do that and get along with the head of a country, that's a trick. But I will say this, they're a little bit similar. They're both at the top of their game. They both do love their countries. They're very sharp players, you know. Somebody would say, they said that about me. A certain bank said, he's very sharp, meaning let's not do business with him. The fact is they're sharp. And they're doing that for a lot of reasons, but one of the things that they're doing it for is their country. So I know President Xi very well. He spent a lot of time in Florida with us in Palm Beach at Mar-a-Lago, and I got to know him really, really well. He is so much at the top of his game, Bill. We cannot have a president. I never realized, honestly, until this catastrophe or what's happened with Afghanistan and the wall and all of the horrible things that are going on, energy, independence, which we just lost about 2 months ago, by the way. I hate to tell you, we had it, best we've ever had. I never realized, obviously the presidency is important, but I never realized maybe how important. You're setting a tone for an entire country. When you're weak and you're stupid, it sets a bad tone.
That's not good. Weak and stupid is not
It sets a bad tone. Look, when we looked at the two of them 3-4 days ago, my mic, what's going on? Hi, everyone. His mic didn't work. He hasn't even started yet. I'm glad our mic's There's a weird deal going on there with the waving all over the place. Nobody knew what the hell happened. Putin was laughing. He was like, oh, am I lucky or what? Look, I will say this, Russia, China, if you look at Kim Jong-un, another very smart one. They're all smart. The leaders of Iran, I ended that deal, and now they want to give it back to him, okay? One of the worst deals. And by the way, a deal that will cause the destruction of Israel if they put it back. That would have caused and will cause the destruction of Israel. But these are all very smart people.
Now, I think the mullahs would use the news.
I think more than anybody else.
Yeah, but Xi, I don't know. I mean, you obviously know him. But
he would be inclined not to, because he understands what it is. I think the mullahs would use it. I think they would look at it as they're religious fanatics. It's different.
What did you tell Xi about going into Taiwan?
Well, I said, and I don't talk about this, and I won't talk about tone, but if you notice, there were no planes flying over Taiwan, no bombers. There was no talk of Taiwan for 4 years. They didn't talk about going in. And by the way, they didn't talk about going into Ukraine. They weren't going. Russia would not have gone into Ukraine while I was there. I guarantee that. Russia would not, and China would not, and Kim Jong-un would not have used nuclear weapons. Remember when I first got in, we talked about this a little bit over the last year. We had a terrible, terrible time with Kim Jong-un. And President Obama, when I met with him, which was those, you meet before you take over, and we're sitting and we talk. It was supposed to be for 10 minutes, and it was for many times that. But the biggest problem he had was North Korea. He said, you will have a war with North Korea. I said, that will be a nuclear war. He said, that's possibly right. I said, have you called him? I mean, has anyone called to say, like, perhaps we could save, And they were these, stupid people, some of the media, they said, 50,000 people could die. Yeah, in the first second, 50,000 people. You're talking about, Seoul is like 18 miles off. It's just right next to, the border. You would have millions and millions and millions of people dead. We have 32,000 soldiers over there. And by the way, while we're on it, I said to South Korea, you gotta pay. They don't pay. He said, we have 32,000 soldiers, cost us $5 billion a year. You're a wealthy nation. You almost don't have to have a military because we protect you from a tough cookie. I said, you have to pay. And it didn't get written about, Bill, but I got them to pay. I wanted $5 billion. Defense Department couldn't tell me how much it cost. They said, how much does it cost? And we have no idea. We just send everything. Nobody, they have no idea. It's the most incredible. They don't keep accurate books, let's put it that way. So I said $5 billion. I figured that's good. So I said, you got to pay us $5 billion. And they went crazy. No. I said, why? This was President Moon. I had a good relationship with him. I said, listen, why are we protecting you? You stole our television business. You stole our shipping business. You build all the ships. You build all the everything. You build a lot of cars that you send into our country. We send in nothing into your country, practically nothing. It's a one-way street. Now on top of it, we are paying the cost of your military. Why are we protecting you? Because you have always done that. You've been doing it for like 84 years or whatever, okay? I said, but we're not doing it anymore because we're not stupid anymore. So what happened is he got very upset, and they're very good negotiators, very, very good negotiators, and they were angry. No, no, no. I said $5 billion. No, no, no. We will pay nothing. Then he agreed to $1 billion a year. I said, listen, next year I'll see. See, he blamed it on the budget because he said the year was almost up and they didn't have it approved. So now I said, now we're talking. Now we're talking. That's much better than no. And we agreed to, essentially, we were getting it up to about $1.2 billion a year, $1.2 billion from like practically nothing. So we got 1.2, not bad, each year 1.2 billion. That pays for the cost of my salary as president, which, by the way, I gave back to the country. And then what happened is I said, look, you're going to pay 1.2 billion. But next year, when you have a full year, I'm going to come back and see you, and you're going to pay at least another $3 or $4 billion a year. No, no, no. But the answer was yes, yes, yes. They were going to pay. And then the election was rigged and stolen, and these other people got in, and it was just announced 4 weeks ago that the United States of America approved a long-term agreement, a cost of living, on the money that I raised. A cost of living adjustment. It's like nothing. It's like nothing. We would have had billions and billions of dollars coming in proudly from a country that's very rich. Instead, we're subsidizing all of these militaries all over the world, and we owe, very soon it's going to be $35 trillion, okay? So, a lot of bad things. One other point, Bill, if I could. So I said my salary. So the president gets paid between $400,000 and $450,000 a year. Now that's money. That's money over a period, it's like $1.2 million, $1.3 million over a 4-year period. I said, I don't want the salary. I said that during the campaign. I don't want to be paid. And I thought every president that had a little money would do that, just a little. I'm the only president that did it. I'm the only schmuck.
All right,
Wait.
All right.
And I will tell you, so they said, we think George Washington. Do you believe this? I figured Roosevelt did it. I figured Kennedy did it. Kennedy didn't do it. Roosevelt was rich, didn't do it. I was the only one that did it. 400,000, 450,000 a year, at least $1.2 million, and I didn't take my salary. Okay, good. So I got nothing. I got zero. We did a great job. Every week, they think the only one they think that did that was George Washington, who was actually considered a rich man. Every month, because he comes in on a monthly basis, we would get a call from the fake news media. Did the president donate his salary this month? Because you have to take it and donate it to one of the agencies. And we'd say yes. And then next month, did he donate? They were like clockwork. Did he? Did he? Did he? Did he? This went on for 4 years. And I guarantee you, and they never wrote that I did it. Never. Most people have no idea that I did it. In fact, I sort of forgot that I did it. But they never wrote a story about it. But I tell you, Bill, if I ever went a month where I didn't do it, it would be headlines the likes of which you've never seen.
Okay, so
it's a little story.
I think the skill set that you brought to the White House was the ability to negotiate deals that were favorable to the USA. So let's come back to America and talk about the vax. So yesterday in Sunrise, Fort Lauderdale, you told the crowd, big crowd there, just like here, you told them that you gathered all the heads of the pharmaceutical companies together, okay? And you told them if they developed a vaccine, that they would get government contracts worth billions of dollars, right?
That's right.
Okay, so why was your administration able to do this in 7 months? China was not able to do it. Russia was not able to do it. Why was America able to do it?
And to this day, they haven't been able to do it, the other countries, and the vaccines they have are terrible. So I was very tough for the FDA, who was totally bureaucratic and slow as hell. Very, very tough. In fact, we got the approval of medicine. You know, it takes years. It took 12 years. We got it cut in half, and it's going to be less than that. It should be much less than that. But the FDA, I was brutal in them because they said it was going to take from 5 to 12 years to have a vaccine. And your favorite person in the whole world, Fauci, said, he said it wouldn't be done in time, so he wasn't a big proponent of it. I got it done. Bill said 7 months. It's 9 months, and it could have been actually 7, depending on the way. So I got it done, let's say, in less than 9 months. Something that should have taken 5, or would have taken any normal person, okay, 5 to 12 years. Now, I'm very proud of that, and it saved millions and millions of lives all over the world. All over the world. We got something done. But Bill's question is, how did they get it done so fast? We helped them monetarily, which because of the kind of numbers you're talking about. And very importantly, I ordered billions of dollars of the vaccine because it takes about a year to make. So if you don't order it, you still wouldn't have your shots, those of you that have shots. And no mandates and no everything, by the way. But those of you, you don't need them. You don't need them. And how they don't include people that had it and recovered is crazy, because that's a very good form of vaccination, I guess you could say. So I was very, very strong in them, but we did something that nobody, it was like a big bet.
Like a miracle.
It was like a big bet, because if I didn't buy billions, it was $12 billion. If we didn't buy billions of dollars of that vaccine, we waited until the final day and the final test, and then you ordered, you would have had to wait a year. So you would have just about now been started with the vaccine. It was just, so I think it was one of the greatest bets in world history, because that vaccine, or the 3 vaccines, have gone all over the world and saved millions of lives.
Did the CEO of Pfizer hold you by not making the announcement before the vote?
Yeah, well, they hated me so much because I was nasty to them, because you had to be, it wasn't a question. You know, they're tough cookies. They're into their stock price. They're into a lot of things. They've all done very well because of the fact they wouldn't have done well if it didn't happen. But we came up with 3 great vaccines. And by the way, Regeneron and other things. We've done, you know, therapeutics. And now we have pills we think are coming out through my administration. I'm the one that did it. This guy didn't do it. I don't know anything. when he was, remember he was reading a speech and it was like into February and he says, when I get a vaccine, he already got it. He got it on December 11th, right? So he got the vaccine and he said, I don't know if I take the vaccine. They said, sir, you've gotten it already. Oh, I see. There's something going on. I don't know what the hell is going on, but there's something going on. But he already got it. And he was wise to get it, in all fairness. It was the right thing to do. But you know, the interesting thing is, when I did it, we had great credibility. There was no talk of a mandate. There was no talk about people not taking the vaccine. They hurt the vaccine so badly because what they did is during the election process, they said, if Trump was involved, I will not take the vaccine. Well, he was very early to take it. And she said that too, our great vice president. Is she doing a great job? She's doing a great job at the border. Is she doing a good job at the border? Millions of people are pouring in from America. Doing a great job. So those two were knocking the hell out of it. After the election, they started talking positively about it. And people didn't believe it. And just one final thing, when they did the pause on Johnson & Johnson, that was really bad because people started saying, oh, it was over 6 people that lived. 6 people had a problem, and it was the 6 people. And millions and millions of people that got it, it was 6 people, and they did a pause. That was a very bad thing to do. But we're very proud of it. It's an incredible thing, and it saved millions and millions of people throughout the world.
So here's the question of the hour. Why didn't you fire Fauci?
So, if you remember, at the time, he wasn't like the big deal that he is now. He wasn't. And everything he did, I did the opposite. Because he didn't want us to close our country to China, which was heavily infected. He didn't want us to close our country to Europe. I looked at Italy, I looked at France, I looked at Spain, I looked at these countries that were being ravaged. I closed it very, very early. Saved hundreds of thousands of lives. He was the first to say that, by the way. And he didn't want people to wear masks. Do you remember when he said, no, masks are no good, don't wear masks, it's a waste of time, they're not healthy, they're not good. And now he's a radical masker. You have to wear 7 masks, 8 masks, put them over your ears, put them over your. So, you know, he changed. But I did think from a political standpoint, if I did it, because you already had a large group of people out there that are on the, let's say, the other side. And if I did it, it would be a big stir. And he was a great promoter, not a good doctor, but he was a great promoter. Remember he said he was a great athlete, and then I saw him throw the baseball at the Washington. He threw it right there. The ball, it's the worst throw I think I've ever seen. Obama's was bad, I will say. That was bad.
Okay, so you didn't fire him because you knew there would be a firestorm.
We had enough storms, and we were in the middle of a big pandemic, and I didn't think it would be very helpful to do that. But and again, he wasn't the factor that he is now. Now, you know, they've really put him in charge of a lot of things.
So when you were watching the fall of Afghanistan, like all of us, what went through your mind? Because you, during your 4 years, had a pretty stable Afghan policy. Very few U.S. troops hurt or killed. The Taliban stayed in place, and then, you know, a few months after you're gone, they run the country. What were you thinking?
So when I watched that, to me, it was the saddest day and the most embarrassing day. Maybe embarrassment is the best word in the history of our country. There has never been a day like this. And you know, you were asking about President Xi of China and Putin. They were watching it closer than you were watching it because they couldn't believe what they saw. They lost respect for the United States of America that day. We lost 13 soldiers, but they had 28 very badly injured. When I say badly injured, arms, legs. One of them, 2 legs gone and an arm. Nobody ever talks about that. We left American hostages. They're hostages. They're right now hostages. Why do you think Obama's giving billions of dollars to them? You know, they're giving billions and billions of dollars.
Biden's giving
No, it's Obama because he's telling them to do it. I don't know. That's what we hear. Who knows? because they really have us in a bad position. They have perhaps, I heard yesterday, perhaps 2,000 people. You know, I was hearing 200, 300, 500, but we didn't get them out. How do you move your military out before you move your people out? How do you do that? Who would be so stupid to do that? So I wanted to get out of Afghanistan. Everybody here knows that. I got, elected twice on, that among many other things. But I wanted to get out of Afghanistan. I probably won't be able to use it a third time other than to say that was the worst pullout in the history of wars. There's never been anything like it. So we lost soldiers and badly wounded soldiers. We left hostages. We left people that could have been brought out, shouldn't have been anywhere near. You know, that airlift was a disaster for our country. 3% of those people deserve to come out. You have 97% of those people, and you have many terrorists in that group. You have a lot of bad people in that group, and we better be damn careful because we took out terrorists. And the other thing is, $85 billion worth of the best military equipment in the world that was brand new and beautiful, and new jets, and new tanks, and new trucks, 70,000 trucks, 700,000 machine guns and guns, goggles, night goggles, the latest and the greatest, much better than what we have because it was the latest model. So these guys now can fight in the night. We left it there like we're a bunch of babies, and we left Bagram because we weren't going to leave Bagram, not because of Afghanistan, but because Bill of China. Bagram Air Force Base, it cost us billions of dollars to build years ago. It's got the longest and the strongest runways. In some cases, 8 feet thick of concrete, concrete and steel. We left it, and you know who's taking it over now? China. China's taking it over. It was right near the border and 1 hour away from where China makes its nuclear weapons. What a great place to be. How would you ever leave it? They left that. I would have bombed the 5 other places. I would have bombed them from the air for target practice. I would have bombed them. Everybody please don't. We're going to use these things as target practice. But they would have been bombed. Everybody would have been out. Nobody would have been killed. And we would have been out with dignity and strength and respect instead of that horrible situation that took place. And the press, I mean, I'm sure they're in here, but we didn't let them in. But, they'll buy a ticket, but we didn't let them in. The press doesn't report it. When was the last time you saw Afghanistan on television? They wiped it clean. They don't want to talk about it, but the people will never forget it. It was the most embarrassing day in the history of our country.
When you heard Mr. Biden say that his policy in Afghanistan is excellent, how did you react?
Look. It's like Jesse Smollett. It's a big contract. It's no different. These guys say things. Well, there's really no inflation, and besides that, inflation's a great thing. It's a great thing. Inflation's a good thing. It's the first time I've ever heard it. That's like Jesse Smollett saying, yeah, 2 MAGA people came in. They were wearing red hats, and they wanted to hang me, and they beat me up. And he stuck to it, he stuck to it through the trial. Fortunately, he had a jury that was intelligent and good. By the way, I give a lot of credit to that jury, because I'll bet you they were threatened, and I'll bet you anything they were under pressure. I give a lot of credit to that jury. That was a con job.